On December 17th, 2010, Mohamed Bouazizi, a 26-year-old fruit seller, self-immolated in front of a government building in the town of Sidi Bouzid, sparking hundreds of thousands to heed his cry for change. Tunisians protested against unemployment, poverty, and overall hopelessness, and against the men they held responsible for their woes.
On veut que Ben Ali quitte le pouvoir.
Less than a month after the start of demonstrations, he did. Zine al-Abidine Ben Ali sought refuge in Saudi Arabia, inspiring other nations in the region to take to the streets and voice their discontent in what became known as the Arab Spring. Regimes were toppled and a resemblance of hope emerged. But it wasn't to last. Democratic reforms were implemented in Tunisia, and the country did set itself apart from other nations where uprisings against entrenched rulers turned into never-ending wars, like in Syria, Libya, and Yemen. Observers went as far as saying Tunisia was the only success story of the Arab Spring. But was it? 10 years on, most of those who fought for change will tell you the country is nowhere near the prosperous and fair nation they hoped for.
What changed during those 10 years is that one minister or one president replaced another, but the system remained the same.
All that remains is a slogan: work, freedom and national dignity. This is what we heard during the revolution. We didn't witness any of those things. Maybe only freedom, but it's not really that. It is freedom of press. But what does it really mean for a citizen? Does he have a job? No, he doesn't.
Mohamed Bouazizi died on January 4th, 2011, and his name remains a symbol of the aspirations of a young nation in quest of social justice and a future. For now, those continue to be ideals Tunisians hope they don't have to die for. Annelies Borges, Euronews.
Well, let's go to Tunisia. Youssef Sharif is the director of the Columbia Global Centre in Tunis, and he joins us live now. Thank you very much for your time. We've just heard there in that report from our correspondent from Tunisians who say the system hasn't changed over the last 10 years. Would you say they're right?
No, I mean, what they're complaining about is mostly the economic situation where they found themselves today, which is not better than the one where they were 10 years ago. But it's very important to note that the long-term effects of the revolution of the Arab Spring, which has transformed the inhabitants of Tunisia, if I can say, from passive participants to their own masters, to become real citizens. I mean, the concept of citizenship was introduced in the last 10 years. The act of Mohamed Bouazizi, which triggered the revolution, introduced the ideas of citizenship, of political rights, and that means a lot. However, they are right when they say that the situation did not improve. They are right to say that the politicians are not representative enough. But the system has changed drastically, and now every single Tunisian citizen can participate in election, can participate in expressing their votes, their opinions on Facebook, on social media, and in the streets. I mean, the reason why we have so many demonstrations is in part because of the bad economic situation, but in part because the system has changed, and the system today allows for large-scale demonstrations without repression, unlike what we see in places like Morocco or Algeria or Egypt and other places.
So why do you think they're expressing sentiment to say the system hasn't changed?
But I think it's mainly because of the economic situation, and because in 2010, 2011, many Tunisians who went out demonstrating against Ben Ali and against dictatorship did not necessarily do it asking for democracy and for freedom. They were asking for a better quality of life, for dignity. Remember that slogan, the slogan dignity, the dignity slogan. So they were looking for a better jobs and an improved economic situation. That did not happen. And the blame is in large part on the politicians. Therefore, those who were angry 10 years ago, who were thinking that the regime in place was not responding to their demands of a better quality of life, they look back, and 10 years later, they are in the same situation, the same bad economic situation. And so they put the blame on the rulers, and sometimes they even say it was better before.